it's Marina, Travel Experta, and today we're going to be talking about raising trilingual kids. Are you guys ready for an adventure? Let's begin. My kids are trilingual. Why? They obviously speak Spanish because they were born in Central America, so Spanish, interestingly enough, is their first language. They speak completely fluently English because that's really what we speak at home and because they do go to the US, but English and Spanish are their 100% bilingualism. But also, I personally speak Russian to them, and they are almost trilingual. If they were put into a place where they had to speak Russian, they'd probably be fluent within a week or two, but they absolutely understand everything. So the trick for raising kids with other languages, for instance, Spanish and English is quite simple here. We live in a Spanish speaking country, but Russian, there's really no access to it, right? And the majority of our friends and their classmates, they're actually trilingual, especially if the parent is from another country like France or Portugal or Italy or Romania, Hungary, other countries that are not Spanish English. And the majority, or Japan, I have really great friends from Japan or other Asian countries. How do you do that? This is the main question that a lot of people ask. So it's actually really comes down to consistency. And what I mean about consistency is you need to be consistently speaking to your kids in that language. Whenever you personally speak to them, you need to be speaking to them, addressing them in that language. That is the only way. It cannot be done intermittently. It cannot be done once in a blue moon. They will not learn it. But you do have to be consistent, almost disciplinary style, right? Whenever you see them, you speak to them in that language. And yes, it would be great if they could speak back to you as well. It's that practice, it's that flow. And obviously, if you have access to going and visiting that country where they have your language, for me, unfortunately, visiting Russia or the Ukraine right now is totally not possible, right? There's always some sort of an issue with Russia. But whenever we are visiting my parents, they always need to only speak to them in Russian. Whenever we're visiting my relatives that are Russian speakers, they as well. So you need to be putting them into those situations as well. But I know for a lot of Europeans, they go and stay with their kids for 1 or 2, 3 months in those countries, and the kids really get to practice that language a lot. And that is an absolute gift. But a lot of times we don't have that access. So the most important thing is consistency. And it is always being disciplined enough to speak to them in your language that you want to do. Even though you do know how to speak the other languages, this is how you do it. And you can do it in front of other people. Just do it. And it can get hard, especially the older they become. I find myself really having issues the older they become when I want to speak more serious stuff that I really want to get to them. But then I go back to Russian. I realize, wait, I just stepped outside of speaking that language. I go back to Russian. And again, the best thing to do is that consistency and visiting the country as well. And if you guys have any questions about raising your kids bilingual, trilingual, I'm really happy to help with that. You can contact me in my email. Go to my website, travelexperta.com, travel expert with an A.com. And if you have any other questions, I'm here to help. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave me a review and make sure to share it with your friends. And remember to make every day an adventure.